Real estate transactions bring on the transfer of large amounts of money. How do I make sure I protect myself? Welcome back to another episode of Fridays with the Fiddle Fig. I'm John Selby with the Selby team, and according to an article by Forbes, real estate scams and wire frauds have gone up 1,000% since 2015. And according to the FBI, just in 2018, over $150 million were lost to these types of scams. Now, this is something I cover with every single one of my clients before we open escrow. But today I'm going to go over 4 ways that you can prevent or avoid being a victim of one of these scams in your next real estate transaction. Number 1 is to know your numbers. One of the easiest ways to avoid being a victim of one of these scams is to know how much money you're expected to wire at different parts of the escrow. Oftentimes these scammers will hack into emails and find wiring instructions, or they'll make something that looks like wiring instructions and they'll send it to you in an email, and more often than not they have no idea how much money is supposed to be wired, and so they're putting the wrong amounts on there. And I actually have a story from an incident where this was caught. A buyer asked their realtor and said, hey, I thought I was supposed to wire this amount of money, but the wiring instructions show this amount. And by bringing that to the realtor's attention, they were able to catch this scam before wiring any money. Number 2 is wiring instructions should be protected. Now, what I mean by this is if you're getting wiring instructions in an email, it should come up from a protected server that has a password in order to get into it. And also, it's important to know that nobody other than the escrow company should be sending you any of these wiring instructions. Your agent shouldn't be doing it, your lender shouldn't be doing it. So if it comes from anybody but escrow and it's not protected, red flags should be going off in your head. Number 3 is call escrow. I say, why not just take it one step further? Even if you're getting your wiring instructions from a secured, password-protected server, why not just pick up the phone, call escrow from a number that you get off the internet that you know is legitimate, and double check these wiring instructions and double check the amounts to make sure you're 1, wiring the right amounts, and 2, you have the correct and accurate wiring instructions in an effort to not lose or be a victim to any of these scams. Number 4 is to bring a check in. The only way to really ensure that you could never be a victim of one of these scams is to actually go to the bank, get a bank check, and bring that directly to escrow. It's a shame something like this has become a thing in the real estate community, and the best way to make sure that you don't fall victim to it is to know about it and know some ways to make sure you prevent it. And one thing to really keep in mind is if you do ever feel like you've fallen victim to one of these scams, make sure you report it quickly. I've heard of numerous instances where people have unknowingly fallen victim to the scam. They've been able to report it quick enough, and the FBI and law enforcement has been able to recover the funds before they are sent out of the United States and to never be found again. So that's it. A little bit of a downer episode today, but I thought it was very important to cover. Hopefully you learned a lot from this episode, and be careful out there, and check back next week for another great episode. See you then.